Aw, hell nah, dude. Come on, are you serious? Really? This is the conversation we are having now for the Detroit Red Wings as inspired by the Detroit Free Press. The regular Detroit Free Press went out there and posted this article, which we are going to dive in today. It is going to make a lot of you mad. It's going to make me mad. It's going to make the Red Wings fans totally turn their back on the Free Press, at least for a few days. This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. I wanted to turn your attention to a tweet made by the Free Press from yesterday, which links an article titled this: "The Red Wings should trade Dylan Larkin to an NHL contender if they don't make the playoffs soon." And you can see that this tweet, not the article, but the tweet itself, has 200,000 views, 19 likes, 127 retweets, and 252 replies. I'll give you a wild guess as to the tone and the sentiment from most of these replies. I'd say 95% of people going out there and replying to this tweet are doing so in an angry manner. A lot of people going out there expressing their frustration with the writer. A lot of people going out there and expressing frustration with the platform. Some of them, the extra 5%, are just joking around and memeing, showcasing the popcorn that they're eating, watching these replies roll in. But if you go over to the article itself, it is behind a paywall. Get unlimited access with a subscription to the Detroit Free Press. Sorry, but I don't want to get a subscription to read an article about how Dylan Larkin, D-Boss, should get traded at this point in his career. So to help us out, we're going over onto RedWingsInsider.com, because earlier today, Jack Sutherland published this article going over the Detroit Free Press article. Let's go out there and read this. One particular journalist is facing considerable backlash from shocked fans after writing that the Wings should consider trading Dylan Larkin. One thing that the Red Wings have not done at any point in their recent history is trade their best player and captain. But one particular player based in the Motor City is suggesting just that. It's Carlos Monarrez of the Detroit Free Press recently suggesting that the Wings ought to consider trading Larkin, who is about to play for the Americans in the Four Nations Face-Off title game later tonight, to a Stanley Cup contender if they don't make the playoffs this year or next. Here's the excerpt from Monarrez's article here. "As much as everyone wants to believe he'll finish his career as a Red Wing, especially with 6 years left on his 8-year, $69.6 million extension, it might not be the best thing for his career if the Wings keep missing the playoffs. The answer is simple, albeit hard to swallow for Wings fans. If the Wings miss the playoffs this season and the next, they should trade Larkin to a contender for his age 30 season. Because if the Wings miss the next two playoffs, that should be the end of Steve Yzerman's tenure as GM. That would mean another reset, if not a complete rebuild with a new direction under a new regime and a new coaching staff that would be Larkin's fourth." And here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with what the article is presenting as its thesis. It's just so inflammatory the way it's being proposed here, like saying, hey, Dylan Larkin is a good player, he's signed on for a really long time, but in 2 years they should trade him if they are not able to win. It's a sentiment that I think if a lot of people saw that part of the article, then it's like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Not because we want to see Dylan Larkin get traded away, but because if the Wings go through another rebuild, if Steve Yzerman gets the can, sure, it would probably be in a lot of Wings fans' best interests to keep Larkin. But if you end up sending Dylan Larkin to, I don't know, whichever team is going to be a contender in 2 years, like Minnesota, for example, oh boy, think of the rivalries there. You send him to a playoff team and he wins a Stanley Cup in 2027, it's like, okay, we can be happy for the guy. That's what I think most Detroit fans would feel about him and his career should he go over to another team and win a championship. Hey, he spent so many years with a dog water Detroit team, only making the playoffs in his first year, didn't make the playoffs at all. Now he's playing in Team USA today. It's going to be the biggest game of his entire career. If you trade Larkin and he wins a Stanley Cup championship, nobody in Detroit is going to be upset about that. It's just, if Larkin does get traded, it's gotta be at his own accord, right? This guy's a Red Wings guy, a Michigan guy. He's playing for his childhood team. Sure, the team is not doing well. They haven't done well for years. They're doing a lot better this season, especially with the coaching bump, but the article's thesis here is implying the worst-case scenario that the Wings miss the playoffs this year, and they're in a really good spot to miss it next year. Is that likely? I don't know. You could go out there and debate whether or not that is likely. You can go out there and debate whether or not this article is even necessary. Is it worth it to talk about the hypothetical that says, hey, the Wings are going to do bad this year, they're going to stop winning, Todd McLellan's not going to take this team to the promised land, they had these 2 separate 7-game winning streaks and now they're in the playoff hunt, but let's talk about them losing the spot, and let's talk about the team not rebounding next year. And in that scenario, we will talk about trading Larkin, and we'll make our entire thesis about that and push this article out there onto the internet at this time when the Wings are winning games, they're in a playoff spot. Let's talk about the opposite. Do you see how tone-deaf it is to make that kind of a commentary on the team right now? It's like if the San Jose Sharks had a beat reporter going out there and saying, okay, we got to trade for these super old aging assets because in 2 years, we're going to be super competitive and we're going to win the cup at that time. It's like a Chicago writer going out there and saying they need to get all the big fish acquisitions because, okay, in 2 years, they could go out there and win the cup. It's so backwards against what is actually happening with this Detroit Red Wings team. They're in a playoff spot. That should be celebrated. They're doing really well. That should be celebrated. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. That should be celebrated. The team is playing some of the best hockey they've played in years. That should be celebrated, not being written about saying, hey, now's the time to talk about trading Dylan Larkin. Let's talk about the team missing the playoffs and then missing the playoffs again next year and then trading away the captain, a guy who's wanted to be here the entire time. He's been a Michigan guy, and now everybody's all pissed off about it on social media, calling for the writer's head and condemning the Detroit Free Press for publishing this article. So with that, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about this entire trading Larkin angle? Do you think it's really worth talking about at this point? Again, I don't think it's a bad idea if the situation that this article is presenting actually comes true. If the Wings stink, they stop being good this year, they stop being good next year, they're totally in the basement, dog water, crap team this year, and next year they fall out of the playoffs. Okay, at that point, CVY might not have his job anymore. At that point, Dylan Larkin could be on his way to another team, not because he in particular would necessarily give up on the team, but if the new GM comes in and says, hey, Dylan, look, you've been here for so long, we're going to go through another rebuild. Do you want out? Do you want to go to a playoff contender? Do you want to win a cup? And he's like, okay, nobody's going to get upset at him for that. Dylan Larkin has trade protection on his contract. Any sort of a move would need to be approved by him. I feel like it'd be similar to the Jarome Iginla situation from all those years ago with the Calgary Flames, where Flames fans are like, yeah, okay, we don't want to see you go. We love you, Iggy, but go out there and win your cup. Go to Pittsburgh, go to Boston, go to Colorado, win your championship because we want success for you because of how much you have done for this organization, and we love you for it. I feel like Dylan Larkin would be in a pretty similar situation, but that's not now. The team's doing well now, so this is like the worst time to go out there and make a piece like that. So anyways, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The article is going to be linked in the description as well as the Red Wings Insider piece. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.